Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving deep into one of the real heavyweights of the certification world, the AWS Certified Advanced Networking Specialty Exam, or as you'll see it, ANS-C01. This is a massive milestone for any serious networking pro, and we're going to break down exactly how you can conquer it. So, the big question is, are you ready? Because let's be real, this isn't just about passing another test. The AWS Advanced Networking Cert is one of the toughest out there, and it's really designed to separate the true experts from the crowd. It demands a deep, hands-on understanding of how to build networks that can handle, well, pretty much anything. So let's talk about what it really takes to earn this.
So what exactly is the ANS-C01? Well, first off, it's a specialty-level certification. That's basically AWS's way of saying this is not for the faint of heart. It's built to prove without a doubt that you can design, secure, and operate these incredibly complex AWS and hybrid networks. We're talking about the kind of massive, sprawling architectures that power major companies. And here's the problem, right? This is the reality for almost everyone aiming for this certification. You're probably juggling a full-time job, you've got family, you've got, life, and you have this tiny window of time to prepare for a test that is notoriously difficult. It's so easy to feel completely overwhelmed before you even start.
And this right here, this quote, just nails it. Trying to get by with a pile of scattered notes and random practice questions you find online, that's just a recipe for failure. What you really, really need is a focused, structured plan that's actually aligned with what the exam tests and that helps you build a practical, real-world understanding of the concepts.
All right, so let's start by dissecting this challenge. Because to beat the exam, you have to know exactly what you're up against. We need to look at its structure, the topics, and who it's really built for.
Okay, take a look at this breakdown. The first thing that should just jump right out at you is that huge 30% slice for network design. You know what that tells you? It says everything. This exam isn't about memorizing little facts about services. It's about your ability to think like an architect, to weigh the trade-offs between cost, performance, and security. And look, the other domains are all pretty hefty too, making this a seriously comprehensive test of your skills.
And here are the cold, hard facts. You're looking at 65 questions, but 15 of those are unscored, so you won't even know which ones count. The passing score is a tough 750 out of 1,000. And with a mix of multiple choice and multiple response questions, there's absolutely no room for lucky guesses. This whole format is specifically designed to test how deep your knowledge really goes.
So, who is this exam actually for? Well, AWS is super clear about this. The ideal candidate has at least 5 years of solid, hands-on networking experience, with 2 or more of those years spent working specifically with cloud and hybrid environments. This isn't a certification you can just cram for over a weekend. It's meant to validate real, hard-won expertise.
Okay, enough talk about how tough the exam is. Let's make this feel real. I'm going to walk you through a few sample questions that are pretty representative of what you'll see on the actual exam. Let's see how you feel as we go through them. All right, here's our first scenario. We've got a company hosting a service on an Amazon EKS cluster. That's the managed Kubernetes service. They've got 2 big requirements: encryption from end-to-end and mutual TLS for that 2-way authentication. So the options involve using a network load balancer or an application load balancer with different listeners. To get this right, you have to know the subtle differences between them and which one is going to satisfy all of those requirements at once. Feeling the heat yet?
Let's try another one. Here, the challenge is to route traffic to different backend servers based on the URL path. Simple enough, right? But wait, you also need to terminate HTTPS on the load balancer, but, and this is the part that gets everybody, the web server still needs to see the original user's IP address. This is a classic trade-off question. Do you use an ALB or an NLB? How do you handle the headers? Only one of these options is going to check all the boxes. And for our last one, we're going global. We have an application using AWS Global Accelerator. Now, the crucial point, the one thing you can't miss, is the app must only be accessible through the accelerator, not directly. This is a security question and an architecture question all rolled into one. It's testing your knowledge of subnets, security groups, and how Global Accelerator really integrates with your internal resources. See, these are the kinds of multi-layered problems you have to solve.
Okay, let's all take a deep breath. Those questions are tough, and they're tough for a reason. But the point is not to discourage you, it's to show you exactly why how you prepare is so incredibly critical. So let's switch gears and talk about the smart way to get ready for this thing.
This right here is the classic trap so many people fall into. On one side, you've got this messy pile of scattered, unverified, and probably outdated materials you scrape together online. That path just leads to confusion and, honestly, false confidence. But on the other side, you've got a structured, modern simulator that's actually designed to build real, useful skills. That's the path to success.
And this is exactly where a tool like certificationexam.com comes into play. It's a platform built specifically to solve this exact problem, with one simple goal in mind: give you the resources you need to master the material and pass the ANS-C01 on your very first try.
So what makes a platform like this so valuable? Well, look at that number. Over 291 practice questions. But listen, it's not just about the number. These are expert-written questions that are constantly being updated to reflect the latest version of the exam. That means you're always studying the most relevant content possible.
And the process they lay out is just simple and effective. First, you get access to that massive question bank. Second, you use their online web simulator to mimic the actual exam experience that helps you train your pacing and your focus. And you can even study on the go with their mobile app. It's a complete toolkit designed for someone who's busy, like a working professional. So this brings us to what might be the most important part of all: your strategy. Look, having the right tools is half the battle, for sure. But the other half is knowing how to use them correctly. It is all about studying smarter, not just harder.
I absolutely love this piece of advice from the source material. Use practice questions as diagnostics, not as a script. This is the key. This is the whole mindset shift. You're not there to just memorize answers. You're there to diagnose your own weaknesses.
So here's your strategy, plain and simple. Every single time you get a question wrong in that simulator, don't just glance at the right answer and move on. Stop. Figure out why you got it wrong. Was it a routing rule you forgot? A security concept you misunderstood? Use that mistake as a signal to go back and really hammer on that weak area. Your goal is to be able to explain why the correct answer is right and, just as important, why all the other options are wrong. So let's end right where we started. Now that you've seen the complexity of this exam, but also a clear path to prepare for it, are you ready to stop stressing and start building the expert-level skills you need to pass this thing on your first attempt? Because having the right tools really can make all